Thank you so much for helping my project.
Yeah, no worries.
Could you say a little bit about yourself?
I guess, where do you want me to begin?
Well, I guess, what do you do? What are you
Okay.
interested in?
I guess I'll do like a brief overview, I guess, life story. So
Yeah.
I'm from Dallas. I went to Dallas Jesuit for high school. Went to A&M for undergrad. Studied biology. Then went to grad school for biomedical engineering. I guess I went up to Minnesota for 4 years, and then I finally found a pathway back to Texas. It's great being back, and I do PRA for the HLS program.
Wow.
So it's a lot of fun.
What's PRA?
So it's probabilistic risk assessment.
Okay.
Essentially, what we're doing is seeing, I guess, what kind of failure circumstances would result in you either having to stop the mission early or resulting in a loss of crew circumstance. So let's say something happens to the vehicle where they can't bring the crew back to Earth, then you just kind of find out what the combination of events would be. So what stars would have to align for you to reach that outcome. So we assess what the risk is for each mission, and then we provide it. And then I guess the benefit is we're able to see where the big risks are in the mission, and it helps you attack those risks to mitigate them as low as possible. So that's the overall benefit to the mission. So.
That sounds wonderful. I know of like Intuitive Machines, they had the human lander, not the human lander, they had the robotic lander that landed and then tipped
Right.
over.
Right.
And then you go and look at like Starship and you're like, wow, the height, the width.
Yeah, the center
It's
of
like-
gravity is certainly a little higher.
I mean, if you look at like the Apollo landers, I mean, they're like little short, squat,
Right.
broad things.
Right.
Like, seems and how uneven the moon surface is. It's just like whoa. It's like,
Yeah.
how's that gonna work? It's-
Yeah, so I guess the cool thing about that is you see what you're working with, and then, I mean, there are multiple hazards that come into play. So one being, I don't know, what's the slope of the surface? So, I mean, if you land, is the vehicle actually going to stay upright, for one? And then two, I guess, if you're landing, there are more factors, but
Sure.
we'll just boil it down to that. You're landing, let's say there's a rock underneath the vehicle. I mean, is there enough clearance to make sure that that rock's not interacting with critical components? So
Yeah.
it's kind of think about that kind of stuff. And then also you can land, let's say, but let's say if your vehicle's running off of solar power generation. I mean, sure, it's landable, but if you don't have enough sunlight to generate power while you're there, then theoretically it's not really a landable site. So there are
Right.
just a lot of factors you got to think of, like, one, can we do it? And then two, if we do it, what are the downstream implications? Can we actually stay? So
Yeah, and then you had a Japanese lander that was supposed to tip over, but tipped over backwards, and it
Right.
had solar panels, but apparently it was enough to
yeah, the
still
Jackson one.
survive. Yeah,
Right.
so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Where did you stay in Minnesota?
So I guess I lived in the city. It was way different up there. I don't know. It's just a different culture, but I would say a lot of the clothes that I bought while I was up there, I still get to wear them down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would say if you ever do move up north, the biggest thing or the smartest thing you can do is get a remote start for your car. 'Cause the
Okay.
last thing you want to do is hop in it when it's minus 15.
Absolutely.
You kind of want to preheat it, but that was fun. It was an interesting experience. I mean, it's the med device capital of the U.S. for the most part, but it was just kind of cool. I guess I've never been that far north until I moved up there. So, and the funny thing is, if you take 35 north, it takes you to Minneapolis.
Oh, really?
It's a
Okay.
straight shot. It's
That's
it's
amazing.
an easy drive. Yeah. But yeah, my pathway's kind of strange. I mean, undergrad biology, grad school biomedical engineering, and then here I am
Doing
doing
risk
space
assessment.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess I was doing reliability and med device before I came here, so it's pretty transferable. But the only thing, I guess, a big learning curve is one, I guess, environment. So you're used to Earth environment, like ambient temperatures and whatnot, but you have to start factoring in that as well as, like, I don't know, radiation. You don't actually get the, I guess, shielding that you do with like atmosphere. So you got to think about any kind of interactions with that. But no, it's fun. I mean, if you like learning, you're learning something new every day, so it's a lot of fun.
I used to work for a company that had an office in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And my boss was up there, so I would go up there to Minneapolis from time to time.
Right.
Sometimes in the winter, which is quite a bit different.
It's way different.
People say, how we live on Mars. I'm like, how do Minnesotans live up there in the winter? It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Except that would be like summer on Mars, but that's a different story.
Walking your dog in ski bibs is
Oh,
certainly
really?
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Does a dog have covers too, or?
Actually, I got him a jacket,
Okay.
and then I got some shoes. Apparently, so I learned this while you're up there, but when it's like a -30 wind chill, like you only have a certain amount of time before your dog starts getting frostbite. So
Okay.
like it's an in and out kind of.
Especially I guess the parts of the dog that are actually in contact with like the ice and snow and
Yeah,
stuff. And then,
so I got him shoes and stuff, but yeah, like the first things that you have to worry about like our tail, like ears and
Wow.
feet. So
yeah, just like us, I guess our ears and like here it always like freezes
Right.
for me.
right, yeah.
So, well, I guess when did you find out that NASA was planning to send astronauts to the moon?
Gosh, like I can't even put my finger on it, but I would say I did find out when it was announced, like to the nation, but I did interview here right after grad school, and I would say that seeing it before and after, I mean, it's like this whole area is just more lively ever since Artemis started up, because I remember coming to campus and like it was kind of a ghost town, and it's like everything just like built up real quickly, and it's really cool.
That's interesting. So you really feel like it's rejuvenated.
Yeah.
The whole organization and stuff.
But then again, like I've only been down here like a couple of times. I mean, I'm from Dallas. Like the only times we've come to actually like Johnson or like Clear Lake area was when I was visiting my cousins or aunt and uncle. We had passed the runway to Galveston. So like as kids, we would like go down there to go fishing for the day. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like fishing out in the Gulf, I guess.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So whenever you talk to people about going to the moon, do you get questions like, "Hey, why are we going?" and stuff like that?
Yeah. So what I basically tell them is it's kind of like the stepping stone to go to Mars. So it's basically setting up the groundwork for them actually being able to take the leap to go to Mars. So I guess more so like I guess the moon being kind of the gas station for getting to Mars. And I guess the benefit of looking for water is, I mean, if you run electrical currents through water, you make essentially fuel. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's kind of surreal. It really hasn't sunk in all the way that I get to do what I do on a daily basis. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I would say one thing that I kind of wish is my mom was around. I mean, she was around when I interviewed initially after grad school, and I kind of wish that she was here to, I don't know.
Did she pass away recently?
She passed away during, I guess, COVID. So
Okay.
she got brain cancer, and
Wow.
yeah, so she was diagnosed, and then I guess like it was like 4 or 5 months later she passed away. But I would say the biggest silver lining for COVID was being able to like work from Dallas, despite like my office being in Minnesota. Being actually able to be there every day rather than fly back every weekend. So
That's good that you
Yeah.
guys spent some time with her.
yeah, but I would say that she probably would have been my date for the first Christmas party if she was
Oh.
around. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, no worries.
When you think about where all this activity might take us and you project out like 200 years in the future, do you see humans living on, I mean, like us going to like running club on the moon and Mars, or do you think we're still just on the Earth making these little picnic trips to places?
No, I could see definitely people living on Mars. It's going to take some time to actually set up the groundwork to actually get the pathway there, I guess. Just because we have the constraints that we do today, it'll be kind of like a gradual growth kind of thing. Kind of like building the ISS. Like the ISS, it wasn't built like overnight. I mean, it was built piecewise, mission after mission, and that's kind of how it's going to go. But I could definitely see that being in the future.
If you could you take a trip to space?
Yeah, I would.
How far would you go?
I don't know. I guess we'll see if the opportunity is presented to me. But yeah, I'm open-minded, and that would just be the coolest experience ever, I would have to say.
Wow, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's such a pleasure to get to talk to you this morning.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It's really cool that you do this. So best of luck in the future doing this.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
just got the rest of the year to get through.